Thank you very much, Saf, for joining us this morning. Asante sana and karibu to Good Morning Kenya. Now, from where you sit, do you feel as a society we have overlooked the rights of persons with disability in regards to how they are getting information in this difficult time?
Very true. I want to say that persons with visual impairment are even more vulnerable than any one of us. And us as a society, we want to stand in solidarity with persons with visual impairment wherever they are in this country. This is a moment that we want also to talk to them directly and to encourage them and encourage the caregivers that they are supposed to follow even the guidelines that have been given by the Minister of Health. They are not exceptional because the virus does not select who it can attack.
You say the virus cannot select who it attacks, and it is a time for caregivers to also step up. But what more can caregivers do in this difficult time?
One thing we should know that people with visual impairment are in fact through the sense of touch. And that means they touch all surfaces. And these surfaces, we are hoping the caretakers should make them clean. Should clean them because the hygiene should be enhanced with persons with visual impairment since they depend on the sense of touch. They also use white cans. These white cans touch different surfaces. And we are in fact advising that these white cans should be cleaned thoroughly with water and soap. And if there is any provision of sanitizer, it should be sanitized. They are fond of persons with visual impairment. They are very good in communication. They use their phones several times and let them even try to clean their phones because this phone can easily be a place the virus can land on. And since they are using and communicating, they should clean it. And we want to say that persons with visual impairment are normally guided. They're normally guided by somebody to a place when they're not using a white cane. I want to encourage that touching the shoulder is more appropriate than holding the elbow of the person who is guiding you. Since we've been told that people, when they want to sneeze, they could sneeze even in their elbow. So I would want to say that people with visual impairment, please, wherever you are, if you are being guided, hold the shoulder of your guide and move on. But minimize movement because indeed, if people who are seeing, they are minimizing movement, how about you who don't see? So I want to encourage our persons with visual impairment who are our members at the society that you minimize your movements.
Bwana Director, even as you speak about minimizing movement, because people that can see are doing that, so for people with disability, they also need to do the same. But how practical is it for someone living with visual impairment to even practice this social distancing, seeing that a good number of them would love to move around with their guides?
Yes, moving around with the guide is not a problem because we are saying instead of holding the elbow, they can touch the back of the shoulder, so that there is a distance of that length of the arm, which is almost a meter, and that one they can move and at least do anything in that place they want to go. I'm also saying that it's good to take all the precautions because one, people who are guiding persons with visual impairment should understand that they can in fact sneeze in their shirt or in their blouse, since maybe if that person with visual impairment is holding the elbow, because you see elbow is one of the guidelines that you can sneeze at the elbow. But we are saying they should be cautious and know that they are guiding somebody who does not see. At any moment they also guide, they should wash their hands, make sure that a person with visual impairment is accessing even clean water and soap any moment they are moving here and there, so that at least we are sure their hands are clean.
All right. Now, speaking of guidelines, we know that people are still moving about their businesses. There are those that are still going to workstation. There are those that are still using public transport. So what more guidelines can be adapted to suit and fit persons living with visual impairments who are still going about businesses, activities, and even using public transport?
Let everybody know that a person with visual impairment is like any other person. The only thing that he is not able to see. And that is why he may depend on you to give a guide, to guide him to take him to a place, maybe cross the road. But we are saying that at this time, if there is such a cases, then a person with vision impairment should understand who is guiding him. That means he should ensure he has his personal guide from home, so that he's not being guided by every Dick and Harry, because you may not know who is guiding you. He might be somebody who is already infected, though he's willing to guide you. I'm just reiterating the fact that it is good to have a guide that you understand during this time of quarantine, so that we may know that you are not going to be infected anyhow.
So how can the public transport, probably the conductors, people, in matatus, how can they assist such persons who are living with visual impairments? Because at least what we know is that at this difficult time, they are probably vulnerable to discrimination.
Yes, I want to say that any person who is coming in contact with a person with visual impairment should ensure, if there is sanitizer, should be given sanitizer on their hands and be encouraged to, in fact, make sure that their hands are well rubbed with that sanitizer, and be guided in the vehicle and let him sit down. And where he's sitting down, let me understand he's sitting maybe next to a window or next to where, so that when he's alighting also, when he's touching because he'll touch over and alighting, let him also, if there is any sanitizer, let him use it. And moving forward, if there is water, let him clean his hands, because that is what we are encouraging hygiene of the highest order.
All right, what about the government and different stakeholders? Because at least what you've seen probably in public service announcements, in commercials, the kind of announcements, even commercial that we are seeing, especially on mainstream media, it is better still tailor-made to fit persons that are well-abled. What can be done by governments and different stakeholders, even as they're relaying this information, to ensure that it fits and at least also caters for persons living with disabilities?
I want to applaud the Executive Director of the National Council for Persons with Disability in reference to his statement he issued yesterday in the media. I want to say that indeed he has highlighted that there are measures that are being undertaken with the stakeholders. And I want to say that the National Council, which is having the resources for persons with disabilities, this is an area that we need to support persons with disabilities. There are those who are locked up, they're not moving. They don't have even sanitizers. It is now time we should find out what can we do. As a society, as Kenya Society for the Blind, we have laboratories. We just need ethanol, glycerin. We can prepare, sanitizers and provide to these persons with visual impairment and any other person. In fact, we want to say that the National Council should remember that we are here as Kenya Society for the Blind, and we are ready to even receive any ethanol and any glycerin, and we can produce sanitizers here at the Kenya Society for the Blind in our headquarters at Nairobi West. And we shall be able to help persons with visual impairment.
All right, let's talk about children right now, because children are now at home, and there's online learning has been implemented where children now can get access to online platforms even to continue their studies. But what more of children who are living with different forms of disabilities, who may not even be able to access online platforms in the first place? What more can be done?
In fact, we want to say that at home, those who are listening to us, let them know that children with visual impairment can play like any other child. And let us ensure that our environment is clean, because they are going to learn, they are going to touch things, they are going to see what is happening in the environment by touch. So let us keep our environment clean. Let us ensure that we are even cleaning thoroughly, in fact, where they are playing, so that we are sure that where they are playing, there's no virus. And when they are touching even the doors everywhere, the locks, let us clean them. Let us go about even ensuring that we are even with them most of the times, because these are children. And any other person who is staying with this child, let them understand that the children will keep on touching things. And after touching, they should wash their hands. We want to stress more on washing hands with the soap. That's very, very, very important. Because these children, if you just take them, it's like a play that you wash your hands. They'll keep on doing that. And as they do that, they maintain their hygiene.
All right, still speaking about relaying of information, and even as you're explaining to us earlier on of what the government and different stakeholders need to do in regards to ensure that even persons with disabilities can have access to information, do you feel that they also need to be included in these commercials or in these PSAs?
Very true. In fact, we should include they are in this in that we are undertaking to control corona in this country, because these are citizens of this country. They are not third-class citizens. They are citizens, and they need to be taken on board. We need to know that we are living in an inclusive society where we should not leave anyone behind. There is no need to leave persons with disabilities behind, because they are human beings, and in fact, they have a right to be in this country. I would want us to include them in all that we are doing.
All right. And now coming back to children, how practical is it to follow up on a child? Because even on a normal time, it is sometimes becomes difficult even for caregivers to just give care to children who are living with disabilities. And now all children are at home, and there could even be instances where a parent might even have like 2 or 3 children in the same house who are living with different forms of disabilities. What are some of the guides that you can give to such parents in this difficult time? Because yes, you are having a disease which is difficult as it is, and then also having children that are living with different forms of disabilities in the same house.
In fact, I want to appreciate that parents are going through a challenging moment this time with children at home, more so those with disabilities. I want to encourage our parents and caregivers at home that with one child with vision impairment or disability, we have to be more to ensure mind we be more child that involves cleanliness. In fact, let water be a play for these children. So, and that is why I maintain the cleanliness. They should, in fact, anytime they do everything, they move here and there, wash their hands. In fact, and we call clearing and everything we will.
All right, but Director, looks like you're missing the link here, but thank you so much for much of what you've told us, at least as of now. As and we get back to the link, we'll continue with the discussion just to better understand what more can be done to persons that are living with disabilities in this difficult time. It is a difficult time for the entire globe. It is a difficult time as we continue recording high number of coronavirus cases, not just in Europe, where the virus began, but also back in Africa. Cases being recorded day in, day out. We have seen countries going on lockdown, not just in Europe again, but also countries in Africa, South Africa, Uganda, some of the countries in Africa just going on lockdown to see how best they can contain this disease. And we now need to continue with the discussion, Bana Director, and just like you were telling us earlier, in terms of what more can parents continue doing, knowing that it is a difficult time, just like I was mentioning, for the entire globe, even for our country. But now they are at home, parents are at home, and like I was saying, even in normal times, it is difficult for parents to even attend to children who are living with disabilities. But now they are both at home. And so you were just explaining to us how best parents can continue doing this to cater for their children who might be living with different forms of disabilities. Director.
Thank you, Doreen. I want to say that it is true that this moment, other diseases may come to the children. But let us be observant as caretakers and parents, because when we are with a child with a vision impairment or any other disability, this child may start being sick. And if you are observant, let us take the fastest, in fact, initiative. If you find the child is having high temperatures, in fact, you have to take that child for test immediately, so that if there is anything happening with that child will get intervention and medication like any other. So I don't want us to assume that maybe staying at home, these children are not going to be sick. We just have to be extra observant, and we take care of these children as caretakers and as parents.
All right. Now, we were talking about what caregivers can do to continue assisting persons living with disabilities. But what kind of assistance can these caregivers get so that they can continue ensuring that they provide well and even cater well for the PWDs?
There are some of the PWDs, the persons with disabilities, who are really living below the poverty line. The poverty line. In fact, I would want to even encourage Kenyans. This moment of prevention of COVID-19 is a moment that each one of us should ensure that indeed, if we are able to buy even sanitizer, if you have two, why can you give your neighbor? If you are in a neighborhood where there is even a person with a disability, why can't you extend a hand? Because we need sanitizers. We need, in fact, like look at when we are using towels to wipe our hands. We need, tissues. A person with vision impairment may well use a tissue, paper, and dispose it than a handkerchief, which will be soiled if somebody has even flu. So there is need to know that it's good to use a serviette when you are wiping your hands. So if those who are able to support, I want us to, as Kenyans, let us share the resources we have so that all of us can live and go through this pandemic period.
Director, even as you're speaking of some of the guidelines that can be adopted, at least to suit the PWDs in different capacities, what would you say from where you sit in terms of ensuring that in terms of even hand washing? Because at least what we can say is that not every person who is living with disability can even get access to this, water, if I may say, frequently wash their hands as it has been advised. And even some of them cannot even wash their hands by themselves. What are some of the guidelines that can be adopted to suit such persons, even as it comes to hand washing?
Yes, we should understand that hand washing, it should be thorough hand washing. And if there's a person who has maybe a condition is not able to rinse his hands well, this child or this person should be assisted by the caretaker who is closer to that child or to that person with vision impairment or disability. I would want to encourage even caregivers who are living with persons with disability. There are those who are not able to wash their hands. They should be assisted. They should be assisted to wash their hands with water and soap. And I know there is a problem even of water in some areas. Let us try to get some clean water. Please, if you have water and there is shortage of water in your neighborhood, you assist even that family, because people understand where children of disability are, where persons that are with disability are, and you are living with them, they are living with you. Do something to ensure that this person is getting assisted.
All right. What about those that are living in close proximity? This might be probably in the slum areas or informal settlements, because just like I'd mentioned, these are some of the people that are really prone, or vulnerable to discrimination in these difficult times, because at least right now is a time where everyone for himself, God for us all. But what about those that are living in close proximity in slum areas where they cannot even exercise this social distancing that has been greatly advised? What can be done to such persons?
I want to say that this is a time that we should be very sensitive. Wherever we are staying, whether informal areas, the informal settlement, I want to say that a person with disability is living with other people who are able-bodied. And these people should ensure that this person with disability is also accessing even initiatives that will protect this person from conducting this virus. And I want to say that let us know that there is life going on in informal settlement. And as it's going on, those communities, and there are even leaders within those areas. They should ensure that families with persons with disabilities, more so those with vision impairment, they are even supported within their reach. And I want to encourage even the vigilant, the team leaders, the chairman of the vigilant teams, they should ensure that in their area, people with vision impairment are also being catered for this particular time. In fact, let them touch, even if it's a mask, let them know what a mask is. Let them even be told why a mask, because this mask, when you are putting it, mask is helping you so that somebody who is next to you, when he happens to talk, now the particles are only coming and dropping on this mask, and it should be disposed. all these guidelines, they should be involved, whether in formal settlement or where, in other areas.
All right. Lastly, as we bring the conversation to a close, let's talk about the refugees who are living in, even in this country. It is a time where it is difficult to get basic commodities, even food. And we know that PWDs at this time actually are the most vulnerable. Let me just speak about the government. What can the government do in this difficult time to ensure that Kenyans that are living in refugee camps, especially the PWDs, are catered for in this difficult time?
Through these also who are today.
All right. Thank you very much, Bwana Director. We have been speaking to Mr. Solomon Bukhala, who is the Acting Executive Director, Kenya Society for the Blind. He has just been explaining to us very extensively on what can be done to persons who are living with disability in this difficult time. And it is not a time for everyone for himself, God for us all. It is actually a time where we need to take care of such persons, ensure that even these measures that are being put in place actually cater for them. The policies being implemented can also cater for PWD. So thank you very much, sir, for making time for us this morning.